Hello, and thank you to everyone watching our online event. My name is Ricky Hill, and I am an e-recruiter at the University of California, Merced. Thank you so much for joining us for this online webinar event. This is part of a larger series that we do offer for the admitted students. So this one here, the topic is Transfer LLC. So that does have to do with our on-campus living and learning community. So we will get right into that here in just a moment. First, I'd like to give you a few quick tips. If you would like to adjust your audio settings, you can do that in the lower left corner of your screen. You'll just click the audio option, make those adjustments as you see fit. If you would like to adjust the size of your screen, there is a View Options button at the top of your screen. Go ahead and click on that, and you can go from a full size to something smaller, however you see your preference being for that. If you would like to join us in the question and answer session, there is a Q&A button available to you at the lower portion of your screen. Go ahead and click on that button, and you can indicate your question in the box and send that our way, and then we will go ahead and get to those questions for you. Again, my name is Ricky Hill, and I'm an e-recruiter here at the University of California, Merced. I would like to go ahead and hand this off for introductions, starting with my colleague, Rosa.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Rosa Hernandez and I am the TRV coordinator. So that's for our transfer, returning, and veteran students. I am the pro staff for the center and I am one of your go-to staff members for the Transfer LLC. And I'm going to hand it over to Nancy.
Hello everyone, my name is Nancy Ventura Martinez. I am from Fresno, California. My major is human biology. I am a third year going on fourth year, almost senior. A little bit about what I do on campus. I am part of TRV. I'm a TRV student coordinator. I am also a STEM center tutor and a UROC scholar. And I transferred from Clovis Community College. And I will hand it over to Emily.
Hi, so I'm Emily. My hometown is Mountain View, California. I'm a public health major. I'm a first year graduating senior. Also, this is my second year here at UC Merced as a transfer student. On campus, I'm an RA, so a resident assistant with residence education. I'm the RA for Stanislaus Hall. And I'm also the RA in charge of the residence education side of the LLC. So I help out kind of with the on-campus aspects of the living and learning community, as well as I also am a research assistant with the Health Policy Research Group. And I volunteer in the Merced community with the Merced Courthouse Museum that's in downtown Merced. And lastly, I transferred from Agnes Scott College, which is outside California. It's in Georgia in the Atlanta area. And I'll hand it off to Clarissa.
Hello, my name is Clarissa Seiler. My hometown is Escondido, California. I'm a major in sociology and a minor in anthropology. My class standing is senior, and so I'll be graduating just in a couple weeks. My campus involvement is that I'm a transfer, returning, and veteran program student coordinator, and I work with transfers and also the veteran population within the program. And I am a traditional student. And I'll hand it off to Rosa.
All right, thank you. So now we're going to open it up the floor to any questions that you may have. If you have questions, just throw it into the Q&A and we'll go ahead and try to give you a live response. So we'll start with the first question, and that is, how many years have you lived on campus and what areas? So we'll start with Emily.
So I've lived on campus 2 years now, and both those years have been in the Valley Terraces area. And my first year I lived in Calaveras, and my second year I've lived in Stanislaus.
Great. And Clarissa?
Okay, so I've lived on campus for 3 years. My freshman year I lived in Halfstone, and my second and third year I lived in the Heritage Apartments, which was an off-campus, on-campus through the school.
Perfect. And Nancy?
I've lived on campus for 1 year, and I've lived in Valley Terraces in the LLC, and the LLC is in the Stanislaus building in Valley Terrace.
Perfect. And then could you describe, for Emily, could you describe the Valley Terrace, the layout and the comparison of Valley Terrace to the other housing areas?
Yeah, so what makes Valley Terraces different from our other residence halls and residence areas is the fact that it's kind of an apartment style versus the traditional like hallway dormitory that you typically see that from college residence halls. So what I mean by like apartments is that instead of kind of having that hall, you don't walk Valley Terrace, you access the apartment straight out from the outside, if that makes sense. Basically, the apartment styled, they have 2 to 4 bedrooms and a bathroom, a shared bathroom, and a shared living room. And so you'll have about up to 6 suite mates in those. Like, we call them suites, but they can be like considered kind of like apartments. There's no kitchen in the suite, but you do have access to a kitchen outside of Valley Terraces, either in like an adjoining adjoining residential community. So like you might go to Sierra Terraces to access their kitchen or something like that. And so let me just think about what else about Valley Terraces. Basically, it's about kind of like 9 buildings, so it's kind of a grouping of like little buildings, based like mini apartment buildings, if that makes sense. I'm just trying to like create a visual, but yeah, basically like that's what makes us different from the other residential areas, and we're a lot like more independent style living. So you're kind of responsible for your own space. You're kind of like, no one will come in and like clean up the bathrooms. Like you'll have to work with your like suite mates to kind of make up a schedule. So the takeaways are basically like it's apartment style and it's a lot more independent living, but you're still on campus.
So another question that came in was, who can I speak to about arranging to move to campus or to live off campus? And if there's any groups to help students find off-campus apartments or living, or are there any apartment complexes possibly connected to the school?
The general housing application is now open on the UC Merced website. But as far as living off campus, we did have a complex that was off campus that was connected to campus. It was called the Heritage Apartments, but as of this year, they have canceled the contract, so it won't be connected to UC Merced anymore. So as far as what UC Merced can offer is just on-campus housing, and then off-campus housing, I recommend, like, if you have Facebook, there is a UC Merced Classifieds page, and you can see all the postings of people who have spare bedrooms for rent. It could be different throughout the semester. Somebody could post like in the summer or early in the fall. So I recommend maybe Facebook Classifieds to find an apartment or a room in Merced.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to add on? Because I think, Clarissa, you live off campus, right?
Yeah, I currently live off campus, and because I have been there for like 4 years, like I made friends, and then I was able to find the house that I live in right now. But yeah, what Nancy said about joining the UC Merced Classifieds page on Facebook, because there's like right now there's a bunch of people posting like, oh, I have a room for rent or have a room available, either during the summer or for the whole academic year. So definitely the UC Merced Classifieds, that's where you'll find like students who are renting out rooms, and that's what I would recommend if you're looking for off campus. But on campus is good too, because you'll be closer to all the resources.
Perfect, thank you. And then another question, is it too late to switch to a dorm on campus?
What do you mean by switching on campus?
Let's see.
Oh, if the housing application is still open. So if you were looking at a room maybe off campus, you could still apply to be able to live on campus. And then you have Valley Terrace, you have different other dorming complexes, but you can still live on campus if you still want to.
Yeah, so what you would do at that point is go and check your housing portal and see if you can still file a housing application. You can also email residence education at ucmerced.edu and ask about if it's still possible to live on campus for the next academic year, and then check the housing portal. And then yeah, I would just say like definitely do that ASAP, because it can be like a little bit difficult to get the rooms that you want if you don't like do it, if you're doing it at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you are doing the housing application and you want to be part of the LLC, but you already submitted the housing application, you can email residential education at ucmerced.edu, and they will go ahead and fix your application so you're part of the Transfer LLC. And then if you're part of the Transfer LLC, you're guaranteed a spot with us in a certain housing area. So what is exactly an LLC?
So I think I can handle that question.
Mhm.
So the Living Learning Community, LLC stands for Living Learning Community. So basically that is just students with a shared background. So maybe something that they all identify with, or like a certain characteristic or like trait in their background that makes them being transfers, basically, like being a transfer student. Something that everyone kind of has in common. And so what we'll do is we'll place their students together in either a hall or a floor, but basically they'll live together in close proximity. So that way we can kind of build up a mini community within our larger residential community. And additionally, in addition to just the living component, we also provide resources and events specifically targeted for that community. So basically a living learning community is basically we're tying together the learning aspect and the living aspect and tying that into one atmosphere. So you'll not only just be with transfers, but you'll be attending programs with transfers and accessing the same resources as transfers.
Yeah. And then what, for the Transfer LLC, where would they be living? Nancy, you can take it.
For the Transfer LLC, you will be living in Valley Terraces in the Stanislaus building. So if you see on your screen, those buildings, that's Valley Terrace. Now the Stanislaus building isn't shown in that picture, but it's a little bit more behind, but that's just kind of like the general structure of like all of the Valley Terraces complexes.
And then, so if our financial aid was set for off-campus, let's see, so if our financial aid was set for off-campus, does it only provide enough financial aid to live off-campus, or do you think we will get an increased amount of financial aid to live on campus? So how does financial aid work if you decide to live off-campus or off-campus, pretty much?
So for me, I get financial aid for living on campus. I do get more financial aid for living on campus, but it covers just a little bit more of the cost of housing. I don't know how that differs with living off campus, like if it's just a percentage that they give, or if it's based on living on campus, but I do get a little bit more financial aid help because I live on campus.
I know for me, since I've lived on and off, I didn't get financial aid because I was getting different aid through the VA bill. The VA. So I wouldn't know how to answer just because I wasn't getting financial aid from FAFSA directly, just a different financial aid way. But I would say for me, off campus was cheaper for me to live off.
Yeah, so for myself, for example, too, I lived on campus and off campus during my experience as an undergrad. And I did get a little bit more money for living on campus because financial aid is aware that living on campus does cost typically more than living off campus. Because if you live off campus, you're able to possibly, live at home with your parents or live with family. But housing does have different plans. So for example, if you decide you want a room to yourself, that's going to cost more than having a roommate. And then some housing plans, you can have one roommate or two roommates or three roommates. So you're able to kind of see what benefits you and your current financial status as well. I would really, really look to see if to see exactly what you decide to do, because financial aid will change if the student plan changes from on, off, or at home. So make sure you know where exactly you plan on living, and then if you do need more help with trying to figure out how much it will cost, I highly recommend going to the financial aid website and looking at cost of attendance, and it will break down how much it costs for housing off campus or if you were living at home with a parent or relative. Okay, let's see. Why do you choose to live on campus as a transfer student? And Nancy, if you want to start.
Well, originally I'm not from Merced, I'm from Fresno, California. And even though it's just a bit away, it's like an hour away, as a transfer student, I wanted to feel involved and be a part of campus as much as I could. I also wanted to find a job on campus, and I thought it was the most convenient option for me to live on campus and then go to work, go to my classes, and still be on campus. And since I don't really know the Merced area, I thought it was the best way not only to navigate, but also to be a part of UC Merced for the 2 years that I am here.
Emily, do you want to add in?
Yeah, so I kind of have the same answer as Nancy. Definitely, like, living on campus has allowed me to really become a lot more involved in the UC Merced community. I'm able to, like, be on campus a lot more. I'm able to attend events, get an on-campus job, and access on-campus resources a lot more often than I would be if I was kind of like off campus more often. And so that's kind of like why I chose to live on campus.
Perfect. And then if you're living in the Transfer LLC, will you have access to a stove or a toaster oven?
Oh, you can go ahead, Emily.
Cool. So yeah, if you're living in the LLC, you'll be living in Stanislaus Hollow, which is a part of VT, so you're of Valley Terraces. So you'll have access to an on-campus kitchen.
Perfect. And then let's see here. What are the on-campus dining options? And Clarissa, if you want to start.
So I'm vegetarian, and it was limited for me, but it has changed. So when I would eat on campus, I would eat at the pavilion, and usually I would get like veggie burgers or French fries or like a quesadilla. Or I would go to the old dining center, which had local restaurants that were in Merced, but they like also had like their own little spot on campus there. Then I would also go to like the Lantern and get some bagels and coffee in the morning, or I would just bring food from home. But those were usually the on-campus things that I would eat at.
Perfect. And then how does the Transfer LLC contact incoming students who want to join? And is there additional information that they will be asked for outside of the initial housing application?
So to be a part of the LLC, it is part of your housing application. Whether or not you can still live in Valley Terrace, but if you want to be a part of the LLC, you do have to choose that option on the housing application. The general requirements to be part of the LLC is just being a transfer student, but also enrolling in this course called USTU 10, which will help transfer students acclimate being as a transfer to campus. And those are just kind of the general requirements to be a part of the LLC. So you do have to say that in the housing application, but also those are the general requirements to be in the LLC.
Yeah, so you just check it off on the housing application. There should be a part that says, do you want to be part of an LLC? So you say yes, and then you have to make sure you put Transfer LLC, so that way we know. And then once we know that you're part of the Transfer LLC, we'll contact you too to let you know that, hey, we're here to support you. We want to help you as best as we can. You know, this is how you can find us on campus. Let's see. Can you please type out the name of the course that we have to take to be part of the Transfer LLC? Yeah, so I'm going to type it into the Q&A. It's called USTU 10. That just means that undergraduate studies course. Right now, you won't be able to see it if you're typing like UC Merced class schedule or class courses. it won't show you that course. All the USTU courses currently are hiding. You won't be able to see them until orientation. Once you go to orientation and you're actually picking out your classes, that's when USTU 10 will actually appear. And then you can go ahead and register. Let's see. What are the benefits of joining an LLC? And if we go with Emily?
Well, so some of the benefits are basically like you're close to other people. You're living close to other people who kind of have the same background as you. So for the transfer community, that means basically your neighbors are also going to be transfer students. Your suite mates will also be transfer students. And basically you'll be like kind of have that shared background when you're coming in as a new student to UC Merced, that you'll be able to easily meet other people who are kind of going through the same challenges that you might be going through. Additionally, the LLC, like we work to help connect students to resources on campus. So as your RA, I might help send out like different events, different resources that you can use on campus. And as like an RA, I also work with TRV to help connect, like we help to plan programs and share out a newsletter that like tells all our transfer students like what resources are available, what events are happening, like what news there is in the community. And basically LLC just helps new transfer students to like acclimate to the university and to become a part of the community through kind of becoming engaged in that mini community first.
Perfect. And then how do you pick your roommates? And Clarissa, if you want to answer that.
Yeah. So you go through the same process going on the housing application. Once you submit your housing application, housing should reach out to you and send you an email like, hey, it's time to choose your roommates. And if you already know a group of students that you want to be with, you can create a group and communicate with them and be like, okay, so we're going to live in Valley Terraces and Stanislaus in this room. But if you don't know who you want to room with, there's also, you can have the option to join a group that's already made, or you can create your own group. And there's also like a little questionnaire on your profile, like asking like, oh, like for example, like do you stay up late to do homework? And if you say yes, then they're going to try to find a match for you that also stays up doing homework late. But if you say no, then you'll also get the option of someone who also doesn't like staying up late. So it's all in the housing application process as well.
Perfect. And then what is it like living with roommates? If all of you guys want to share your experiences.
So I can go. I think I had a really good experience. So I actually lived with people who were both transfers and non-transfers. And so it was 6 people in the suite. And it was actually like evenly split. So 3 of us were non-transfers and 3 of us were transfers. And it was kind of cool because the non-transfers were able to like help like let us know like what the UC Merced traditions were, like Coachella and other events like that. But also like having transfer suite mates, I could like be like, are you having the same issues as me? Like, are you having trouble finding out where this office is and stuff like that? And so definitely like that was a really good part of it. And also like we all kind of had the same goal of like studying, getting our degrees, and it was really like a good environment just to like be a successful student, especially in the first semester, 2 semesters that I was here.
Great, thank you. And then Clarissa?
So for me, my freshman year, I had a total of 4 people in one room since I lived in Halfstone. And they all knew each other except me, so I was kind of like an outsider, but eventually we all did get along and we all like compromised on doing certain things just to keep the room all tidy. My second year, since I lived in like an apartment style in the Heritage, I roomed with one of my freshman year roommates, since we both knew how we like used to live and how we are and keeping ourselves clean. So it was nice. And then my third year, I lived with someone I didn't know at all. And so we just had like a little communication, but we mainly just stuck to ourselves, kept each other clean, and there were no issues for me.
Yeah, for me, I also really enjoyed being a part of the LLC. We were all transfer students, except my roommate. She came in after, and she was a sophomore. But nonetheless, we all got to know each other. It was pretty nice. Since we were all transfer students, we talked about our experiences. We all shared similar stories. We even had similar classes together. So it was really nice that not only it wasn't like different age groups or anything. We were all pretty much the same age, and we got along pretty well.
Great, thank you. And then how difficult is it to obtain a single for the Transfer LLC? If you have special medical needs or special situation, how accommodating is housing? Emily, if you want to take it.
Yeah, I can take it. So for housing, we do try to prioritize singles for students who kind of have those extra needs. And so if you do have that need, or you have you can go on the housing application portal, and I think it is included in the application to kind of be able to explain why you need to have a single, why, to kind of just give a reasoning. And so yeah, it can be kind of difficult. We do have a limited number of singles, especially in VT. Or Valley Terraces. So as well as on campus in general, singles can be kind of limited. So definitely go on the housing portal or contact residence education at ucmerced.edu to get more details about if singles are available and how to get one.
Perfect, thank you. And then are there any rules for living on campus? For example, pets, hot plates, are guests allowed? How about overnight guests?
So I can take that one. There are some rules on for living on campus. We have a student handbook, which can be found on the UC Merced housing website. It's basically the student housing handbook where that lists all the different policies that we have. But I can go over a few of the most common ones right now. So for pets, we do allow ESA animals, but you do have to have documentation and an explanation of why you need to have this animal on campus with you. But for the most part, if your pet is not approved, we don't allow them on campus. So please try to get approval for your ESA, because other than that, if you don't, it's a policy violation. Hot plates, we do have a list of appliances, a full list of what appliances are allowed in our housing. So our housing buildings, that includes fridges of a certain size and microwaves. Hot plates are not allowed, as well as electric kettles or coffee makers that aren't Keurigs. Keurigs are allowed. Other types of coffee makers aren't allowed. So definitely prefer when you're packing up to move on campus, make sure you review the housing handbook to see what appliances you can and can't bring. For the guest policy, in the beginning of the year, the RA, your resident assistant, will come and sit down with you and your suite mates and kind of go over, making a list of rules for your living environment with you and your suite mates. And so you'll talk about what the guest policy is and what's your preferences for guests. Do you like to have, is it okay to just bring a guest over with no warning? Do you like to have some warning before your suite mate brings a guest over? So it's kind of up to every suite to kind of make that rule. For housing, we just like to remind residents that they're responsible for the actions of their guests. So if your guest breaks a policy, that's on you. But also for overnight guests, it is kind of a limit of 3 nights, but you always need to, there is a limit in the housing handbooks, but you always need to kind of have everyone's approval for when you bring a guest over. And your suite mate can always take away that approval if they no longer feel comfortable. So just make sure when you're having guests over, you're just maintaining an open line of communication with your suite mates.
Perfect, thank you. And then how do you wash clothes on campus? Clarissa, if you want to take that one.
Yeah. So since transfers will be living in Valley Terraces, you will have to walk to a little building. So it looks like a little laundromat, and that's where you'll be able to do your laundry. And so you'll be getting your CAT card, and you'll be swiping each time you want to use a washer or each time you want to use a dryer. Make sure you set a timer just so you don't forget your clothes, and you can just take it back to your dorm.
Yeah, so for everyone, you'll get your CAT card during orientation. Your CAT card is really important, especially if you're living on campus, because that's a big key for you. That's how you're gonna swipe to get your meals, and sometimes swipe to get into buildings too, depending on the area you live in. So once you get an ID card, make sure you hold on to it and you don't lose it, because it's your ticket for a lot of things. Let's see here. How do you travel around town if you're living on campus?
So on campus, I didn't have a car on campus, but I was able to visit Merced through the bus. the bus system, so that is included with your fees, so you don't have to pay anything extra to get to and from Merced. Let's say you want to go to Target, you want to go to Rayleigh's, which is a popular store, like supermarket in Merced. There's also, like, let's say you make a friend and they live in like a popular, like off-campus, like location, like a certain area, there's cat tracks. So yeah, basically just the bus system, like the city bus or cat tracks, is what you have as far as options if you don't have a car on campus. So yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
And
you will
then-
need your cat card to ride the buses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Always on you, yeah.
Must have that cat card on you. Let's see. How do you get mail if you're living on campus?
Want me to do that one?
Mhm.
Cool. So it's kind of like two ways to get mail on campus, and that's through either our pods, which are kind of like Amazon lockers, if you ever like seen those before or used those before, as well as like just picking up at the housing office. So packages tend to be dropped off at the pods or the lockers, and like letters and envelopes tend to be like done through the housing office. There is a kind of like a process. So in the beginning of the year, we'll ask you to download an app called Semiota, which allows you to kind of like see like what packages you've had delivered, and as well as like where they might be on campus for you to pick up. And it'll let you sign off on the package for when you're picking up and basically say like, oh, I got this package. The thing is, like, sometimes I know like one of the biggest issues we have on campus is that students get the notification that their package has been delivered to the housing office. But the first step is that the OAs or the office assistants have to kind of like process the package. So even though it might be on campus, it's not really ready for students to pick up. And so you have to wait to kind of get like a notification either through text or email or both that you have a package ready for pickup, and then you'll pick it up. So basically that's it.
Great, thank you. And then, are you able to decorate your room or living area?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So yeah, you are able to decorate your dorm. So if you do live in the LLC, you'll have in Valley Terrace, it'll be a common living area, and then two or three rooms depending on the type of suite. You can decorate, but you can't, like, let's say you want to hook something to the wall, you can use command strips instead of like push pins or anything like that. So nothing permanent. There will be bulletin boards, let's say, if you do want to like stick some papers in with push pins. But as far as like anything like painting or anything on the walls, you can't. But you can set up like string lights, you can do window decorations. That's pretty popular on campus. You can put up a tapestry with tape. But yeah, you can decorate your room as long as you're not damaging the walls or any property of the dorm.
Great, thank you. And then, what has been your best experience living on campus? And if each of you can answer that.
So for me, I think my best experience would be my freshman year. Emily mentioned it before, like Coachella and Treats and Beats, and those are on-campus events that are hosted by the school. And I really like those two events just because I could just like walk across campus and be at the event. And those are kind of like little concerts and like carnivals that they have. And there's also food there. And I really like that because I didn't have to worry about transportation because I was on campus. I can just like walk up the hill and then walk back down after the whole concert experience, and then I can easily go to bed. And when I moved off campus to Heritage and normal, like regular off campus, not associated with the school, transportation was a little bit of an issue, but I still went to the events anyway because they're really fun to go to.
Emily?
So I can go. Yeah, honestly, like what Clarissa said, being able to attend those events on campus without kind of having to worry about bus times, as well as for me, I do like enjoy being on campus because it means I can use a lot of resources that tend to be like late in the nights. Like I can go to events, I can stay at the library like till midnight and not have to worry about like getting home, which is really like convenient because I do like tend to stay late at night. And so it was kind of like my favorite like memories on campus, as well as just like hanging out with other people on campus and just like being able to hang out on the lantern and just not have to worry about like going back home. And so that's been like some of my best experiences.
For me, I really enjoyed getting to meet all the transfer students. A lot of the friends that I made during orientation, I still talk to, and we're still super close. So I think that like the sense of community like that I've like gotten through being a transfer student is pretty cool. I just really enjoyed meeting all these different people and being a part of like a university and having like the same like live experience from coming from a community college now to UC Merced. It's been really fun just to like progress and see all of our friends and achieving different stuff.
Great, thank you. And then we're gonna go ahead and show you guys some important dates to keep in mind. So as of right now, the housing application is open. We highly encourage everyone to submit their housing application by or before June 1st. You will get your official housing assignment and more details regarding housing, what area you're gonna be living in, roommates, all of that on August 7th. For our Transfer LLC, and for all students, your guys' move-in will vary between August 20th to August 22nd. So from Friday to Sunday is when students start moving in. Everyone will be moved in by Sunday. On Monday and Tuesday, there is no classes going on. Instead, that's a time for our students, whether you're living on campus or off campus, to kind of get adjusted to the campus environment. So we have a program called Ascend. It's a 2-day program, and it's kind of where you get to learn about on-campus resources more, and you're able to kind of meet more people within your cohort. So for transfer students, you're meeting more transfer students, and for freshmen, they're meeting more freshmen. At the end of the day, when Ascend ends, we will then host events for our Transfer LLC. So Nancy, if you want to talk about those events.
Yeah, so what we have planned as far as our retreat is what we're calling it. We will have a dinner, we will have activities where you can get to know different incoming transfer students in your class. We will also have an exploration where it'll be like an activity. You'll find different things on campus. It'll be just kind of like a game of sorts. Where you can get to know the campus as well as having fun with other transfer students that you might not know, because that's really important to get to know where everything is, what types of services these different buildings have. So that's what we have planned for those 2 days after you move in.
So like I had been mentioned before, so myself, Nancy, and Clarissa all work under the Bright Success Center, which is the student services centers with all the programs are held underneath. We specifically work for transfer, returning, and veterans. That's the populations that we work with. So any student who went to a community college or another college out of state who comes in, we provide services for them. Or anyone who is a veteran, whose spouse is a veteran or parent is a veteran, we also support those students. Or a student who attended school, left school for a number of reasons, and then returned, we also assist them as well. So that's our main focus. Within TRV, we decided to create an LLC, the Living Learning Community, designed just for transfer students. And so that's where Emily comes in, because Emily helps with that. So sadly, though, we'll be losing Clarissa and Emily this semester because they're graduating. So for those of you who are brand new students coming in, you won't be able to actually meet Clarissa and Emily in the fall. But Nancy will be our lead for the LLC committee through TRV. And then we'll welcome in a new student coordinator and then a new RA in the fall. For those of you who are brand new students and you're looking for a position to work on campus, we are hiring, TRV is hiring, and I have saved 2 spots for our incoming transfer students. So I won't post that position until July after the transfer orientation. So that way all of our transfer students who are coming in brand new have an opportunity to apply. And possibly, if you're interested, you can work alongside Nancy to be part of the LLC committee as well. At this time, we're going to go ahead and share just a quick overview of what the LLC will be doing next academic year. So, of course, and Nancy, if you guys want to go back and forth and share some of the events for the fall and spring.
Yeah. So a couple of events. We have workshops. We have socials that we want to do. We have study sessions. We have workshops such as, let's see, in the fall, homecoming. We have a homecoming event that we're doing where we're going to have alum come in and talk about their experience as far as like after Merced and before Merced, what helped them, their transition into the workforce. We have events that we will be doing, collaborating with different campus partners, with other LLCs. We will have professional development workshops like a LinkedIn workshop. Clarissa, if you want to add anything.
Yes, sorry. So yeah, we'll be having a lot of different events that will be helping you professionally, socially, and academically. And since as the program, we'll be sending out newsletters every other week. And within those newsletters, you'll also be notified about each event that's happening during the fall and spring semester, just so you won't get all overwhelmed about all the events that are happening right now. But we'll be sending you notifications about them, and then your RAs will also advise you about the different events. And as you can see on the shared screen, some of the events that we'll be having. So there's study sessions that you'll be attending, research, presentations, how to build your resume, how to do your CV, and a bunch of like different like de-stressing workshops, just so like you feel comfortable, not overwhelmed, because being a university student is overwhelming at times, and you'll need some of those events to de-stress and learn different ways on how to continue being strong here at UC Merced.
Yeah, so do we have any questions regarding TRV events, TRV as a whole, or the transfer experience? We do have a couple of transfer students, with us currently. I myself also am an alum of UC Merced, and I was a transfer student. So if you have any questions regarding the transfer experience, LLC, general questions about the transition for UC Merced, please feel free to include your questions in the Q&A. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions. Is there anything that you want to add in, any of the three?
I would just like to highlight how like the LLC helped me transition into being a part of UCM. It's really cool getting to do a lot of these events with like your fellow transfer students that often you continue still forming this bond throughout your years. Like I said, like a couple of the people that I met during orientation, I still talk to. And then if there's any confusion, so TRV is part of the LLC. So we're like a program that helps support transfer returning veteran students. So a lot of the events that we will be hosting, you will be part of that as well as being transfer students. You'll be part of TRV. And then the LLC is just for people that live on campus and decide to be part of the Transfer LLC.
Yeah, so if you want more information regarding TRV as a whole, you can easily go to our website. We have our mission statement. You can kind of see what events we had last year, which events we're going to have this coming year. You can click through to see more information regarding transfer students, general requirements to be part of our program for returning students, veteran students, resources, various opportunities that we offer, and of course the LLC. And then right now I know there's a lot going on regarding COVID-19, so we actually do have a subpage for important announcements, food resources, technology resources, so we're answering those questions as well. The TRV page is updated regularly, and so if you are looking for information, more than likely information is there, but if you aren't able to find the answer to the question that you're looking for, you can also email us at trv@ucmerced.edu. Okay. So for TRV, if you are interested, the only thing that you need to do is make sure you fill out our intake form. The intake form is something that you also do extra from the housing application. So for the intake form, it's very, very simple, very straightforward. We ask you if you're a transfer student, returning, or veteran. We ask you if you are a transfer student, what school you transferred from. I know for some individuals, it might be one community college, it might be 3, it might be 4, it might be 5. We don't care. We're going to take you. We just kind of want to know for data purposes. We will ask if you are interested in opting into our loaning library. So one of the services we do provide is a loaning library. So if you need help with books, if you need like a book for a class, we are able to give you the book on loan, and then you return the book at the end of the semester. So it kind of reduces the cost of learning for you. We also offer free Scantrons and snacks and printing. I don't know if you want to add any more, Clarissa or Nancy, since both of you guys also work in the office too.
Yeah, we also have a really cool lounge, and that's where you can get your coffee or your tea that we offer there for free. A lot of our scholars use the lounge just so they can connect with other transfer students or veteran students and returning students. And you can also use some of the laptops that we have there as long as it's in that room. Just ask one of the student coordinators and they'll assist you in getting a little laptop out and doing your homework. They'll help you with printing, we'll help you with anything. Nancy.
Yeah, so basically, like Carissa said, TRV is like a space where you can come and just hang out with other transfer students. We offer testing materials, snacks, coffee, tea. You're welcome to do homework, lounge around. We're open from 9 to 5. Anytime you want to jump in, you can make an appointment with us, the TRV student coordinators. And then we'll help you navigate your classes, any questions you have as far as like your transition to UCM. We're here to support you, and any other questions you have, you can always come up.
Yeah, right now we currently are not on campus. When we are on campus, hopefully in the fall, you can find us in the library on the 3rd floor. If you use the elevators right next to the Student First Center, which is also closest to the Lantern, if you click on the 3rd floor, as soon as you reach the top, we're right there. But like I said, currently we're not on campus. We're still offering resources though to our students. You can find us on Facebook and on Instagram. We're making sure that anything that we're doing is being posted, and we're communicating with our students. If students have questions, Clarissa and Nancy and the rest of the team, including myself, are meeting with students via Zoom, just like this. And we're still offering study sessions, socials, and various workshops and webinars, trying to make sure that we stay connected with all of our students during this time as well. Okay, I'm just gonna give you guys about a minute if you guys want to add in any quick questions that you guys may have thought of from just our current statements that we made regarding TRV program and some of the resources we offered. So if you do have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in at this time. This recording or this presentation is being recorded, and it will be posted within a couple of days, hopefully by next week. Yeah, so you should be able to find all of the webinars that are being held throughout this week and weeks prior on admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. Once the recordings are posted, you can find them there. Our Instagram is UCM TRV. So if you guys want to follow us, please feel free to do so. Let's see here. So that is it for us. Ricky, if you want to go ahead and take it.
Sure thing. Well, thank you so much, Rosa and Nancy, Clarissa, and Emily for a wonderful presentation. This has been super helpful. I know I always learn something new with all of these webinars that we have been doing. And as I do mention that this is a webinar, it is part of a larger series that we have been offering for the Admitted Student Webinar Series. And as Rosa did tag for us, we do have a website specifically for these types of events. And that website address is admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. So you will find on that website a long list of events that we've already done throughout the month of April. We've had between 1 and 2 events per day. So you can imagine if you look at how many weeks and what's today, the 27th, I think, of April. So we've had quite a few this month already. So you can go ahead and take a look there for some other recordings. We have a few more coming up this week as well. So take a look and you can get registered for those. Also on Saturday, we just had our very first virtual Bobcat Day, which was a huge success. We had tons of people there. And so we also had some really great topics, including housing, dining, residence education, transportation services. We also had a big session on financial aid. So you may want to tune into those. Those recordings are being prepped today and getting put up on the website within the next day or two. That particular website is bobcatday.ucmerced.edu. So that exclusive series will be available on that site. The other one I mentioned was admitted.ucmerced.edu/webinars. So now that we've given you all those great resources, if you do have any questions, I believe you do have the contact information from the TRV LLC slideshow that we just saw, as well as all the great panelists that we had. So on behalf of the University of California, Merced, my name is Ricky Hill and I'm an e-recruiter here. And on behalf of all the colleagues that were with us online today, we thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.